Welcome back into the Sports Source, this segment of our program brought to you by Southeast Termite and Pest Control. Cold weather means varmints and critters are looking for a place to stay that's nice and warm and dry. That could be your basement, that could be your attic, that could be your crawl space. If things go wrong, that could be your living room. So if you find a furry friend or a scaly friend or a feathered friend that you didn't invite in, call the Wildlife Division at Southeast Termite and Pest Control. They trap, remove, and they can even repair the damage. They do great work. If you know there's a place where something is trying to get in, they can build the barrier there, and it's really good-looking stuff. You should check out their website. Talk to them. They do great work. The Wildlife Division at Southeast Termite and Pest Control. All right, let's take a look at the old staff. Jeremy Pruitt, fired by Tennessee, as you know. He's now been hired by the New York Giants. Derek Ansley left Tennessee, hired by the L.A. Chargers. Jimmy Brumbaugh, fired mid-season by Jeremy Pruitt. Jim Chaney, fired the other day by Josh Heupel. In terms of buyout, Jimmy, what do we want to see looking at? You know, the Chaney numbers?
3.5 to $4 million.
There you go. Shelton Felton, fired by UT for cause. He's part of the cheating crew, as according to the investigation. Will Friend has left for Auburn. Jay Graham, it hasn't been announced yet, but he's going to Alabama. You've lost, that's the second time he's left you. T. Martin, okay, let's come back to that. Thoughts on where this T. Martin thing stands? There are all kinds of, you've had players come out. Peerless Price says his brother is hurting. Albert Hainsworth, we'll get into that a little bit later, but the T. Martin situation. Jimmy?
Well, there were three things that concerned T. Martin, and one was he thought he should have perhaps been the interim head coach, and what happened was the attorneys at Tennessee thought that while the investigation was ongoing, it just didn't make sense to promote somebody who had been on the staff where there had been violations, because you don't know where the T is or isn't at that time. You hadn't even talked to him. So they promoted Kevin Steele at the advice of the attorneys to not take somebody already on the staff. I think that bothered T a little bit. The biggest problem there was you didn't tell T that. You didn't say, this is why we're not promoting you, and they left him hanging. The other thing is the contract thing. Philip Fulmer told him that he was going to give him a 2-year extension with a raise. And then when this investigation started, they pulled back on that. T's contract runs out today. He could have taken other jobs, but he didn't do it because he had been promised this raise. The other thing is he wanted to be interviewed. And if Tennessee had said, we're only going to interview head coaches, that's one thing. But they interviewed Tony Elliott, who's never been a head coach. He's an offensive coordinator. And I think T was bothered by that. If you're going to interview an offensive coordinator, then why don't I get a shot? Why don't I get interviewed? I've been a pass game coordinator. I've been an assistant head coach. I think those three things bother T.
Why is Philip Fulmer making promises to assistant coaches? Because timeline-wise, I wonder if he would have done that for Shelton Felton. Or is that just, well, T, you were my quarterback. I love you. I'll take care of you. Don't worry about what Jeremy wants. Here you go. That's a little odd to me. Unless Jeremy Pruitt said, hey, Coach, I want him. Give him anything he wants. You handle that. I'll handle my other coaches. You deal with T, which seems far-fetched to me. I just wonder why your athletic director is handing out promises to certain coaches and not others. That seems odd to me.
I don't know the answer.
Okay. Let's go back to the list here. We've got Brian Niedermeyer fired, as you know, by Tennessee. Joe Ostevett, still on the staff. He's tight end coach. He had interviewed at UCF with Josh Heupel just a few weeks ago. Chris Winkie, fired by Heupel, so they'll owe him some money, not a huge Chaney chunk. Kevin Steele, all right. I would think for Steele and Ostevett, the longer they go without getting fired or taking another job, the likelihood of them staying here goes up, whether that's as defensive coordinator for Steele or not. Thoughts on where that one is with Kevin Steele? Anyone?
I'm not sure where that is. I kind of tend to think along your lines. I don't know that they've even – I know they haven't offered him anything, but I was thinking about this, and I know that's dangerous. But if you make Kevin Steele your defensive coordinator and he's had success in this league, and then you make John Chavis your linebackers coach, that's a pretty good pair right there. I think they might do that. I know what you're thinking.
We'll talk about it later.
Right.
We just went through lists of problems with VFLs and former. Just stop. Stop hiring them. We'll let the VFLs tell me I'm wrong. The thing with Steele, I wonder, he's worked with these high tempo offenses before. That's not a great spot to be if you're a defensive coordinator, because those guys are usually left on the field for a long time, and it makes their defense look bad. I wonder, a job's a job. Your alma mater's your alma mater, but I wonder if he's sitting there going, you had to hire this guy?
Yeah.
This offense?
Yeah, I'm sure. Because you do look at it. Time of possession is important. When the offense is great at time of possession, your defense is automatically better. And you're like, well, which one is it? Well, I can tell you, personal experience. If they're going really fast and flipping it to you, you're going to have a bad defense. It's just the way it is. And so when you look at this, the defensive coordinators out there that you're going to have to recruit to this, whether it's Steele or someone else, are going to take that into consideration. And you also have to take in what kind of team you need to put together because of that, right? Like, you know, are we going to be a team that really focuses on stop the run, or do we just need to be a team that, hey, we got a pass rush, they're going to score a lot of points, we got to get pass rushers and a couple of DBs back there that know how to take away the ball. And because we're going to get run on, we're going to give up a lot of yards, so we got to figure out how to get it away from them. So, you know, it really comes into that philosophy, too, of who am I going to go after? What am I going to do differently as a defensive coordinator? So that comes into it, and some guys may not be as comfortable with that.
If you're a defensive coordinator nowadays, you have to check your ego in the end zone.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
once you had Nick Saban saying that good defenses don't stop good offenses anymore, and he's going to hurry up, it's gone. The days of I'm going to have a shutdown defense are gone. One thing I think is interesting, didn't hear this mentioned with Kiffin or Hugh Freeze. Everyone had wanted Lane Kiffin's offense, Hugh Freeze's offense. They get Josh Heupel, which is the same style offense, and immediately the response is, he's just going to leave your defense on the field. Well, that wasn't going to be a problem with Kiffin and Freeze. It's just we didn't want Heupel, so therefore this is now a problem. If they'd hired Hugh Freeze instead of Heupel, no one would be saying, oh gosh, he's going to abandon our defense. I just think that's rather funny how that one worked. All right, when we come back, we're going to bring out a couple of other VFLs, and we're going to chat about this whole thing. We'll talk the rapid pace of offense. We'll talk about just having a quarterback-friendly system. You're going to go from watching a drab offense to, more than likely, a high-scoring offense. Doesn't mean they're going to win, but at least, 42-40 loss beats a 42-10 loss. So we'll discuss. Come on back on the Sports Source.